enforcement people. Those type of comments are not meant to, should not have been said. If we're buddy, then man, this team is this, and this, and yeah, you can say that. But you have to worry about a fan base. You have to worry about alienating fans. And if James Dolan hasn't learned anything about New Yorkers, ask John Isnick what happens when you make inordinate, stupid moves with the Jets, and they had to fire Isnick right above MetLife Stadium. And now I did hear that group is trying to have a get rid of Dolan, and they're trying to raise money to put it a billboard right in front of Madison Square Garden. Good job, James Dolan. You've already pretty much blown up your team. You have a team full of D-leaguers. And like you said, Ted, they're selling out a building when your starting lineup includes Jose Calderon, Langston Galloway, Jason Smith, Louis Amundsen. I think Quincy Acey started tonight. Yeah. And you have a nerve to charge $100 for ticket prices, and you actually get people to show up. You should be commended for that alone. At this point, you just have to stop and just like come on, man. You just can't say that stuff. He knows better. But he's James Dolan. He owns Cablevision. So what are you gonna do?
Since I work downtown, I'm going to give you the exact location. It's going to be around 30th and 7th Avenue. Once that billboard goes up, I will take a picture of it because that's where I get on the train to head back to Long Island, and I will send it to both of you guys because, in theory, they want to get the billboard up before the All-Star game on Sunday. So they're looking for all different types of donations. So it could be an ugly situation, any way you look at it. I want to stay with the Knicks and ask you quickly. You have succeeded Phil Jackson, and both of you guys are president of basketball operations. What do you do with Carmelo? Danny, you go first.
You move him. You essentially trade him. At this point in time, Carmelo is he just hit 30. He has a serious knee injury that we don't know how severe this is going to be. He's going to have to take surgery. I mean, it is going to be hard pressed to get people to run a triangle offense nowadays. It's not exactly the easiest thing to fill. You have to find the right pieces. Honestly, the Knicks should just tank this year, take the high draft choice. If you can't trade Carmelo, rid the entire team. Hopefully you get a top 5 pick. You get Okafor if you can get your hands on him, which would be like another Patrick Ewing type situation in New York. If you can't trade Melo, you still have Melo and Okafor. You have a ton of cap space, and hopefully you can hire a basketball person to take over. But if I can't, my main first concern is trading Carmelo Anthony and stockpiling as much pieces as possible and rebuild the entire ship with youth, and not try to do it the quick fix with free agency because let's be honest, Mark Gasol is not going to be leaving Memphis, not for New York anytime soon. And I'm pretty sure LaMarcus Aldridge is not going to do the same thing. So to make a quote, I don't think any free agent touches that dumpster fire that's in New York right now.
President Ross?
You can't disagree. You can't disagree with Danny. I think you got to get rid of him. And it's a tough spot to be in. You work very hard to lure him back, and now this is where you are with him. But you got to move him, and really just think about the opportunity to start fresh. I saw earlier where there may be some buyout conversations being had with Sotomayor at this point. Just maybe a cleaning house situation where you start fresh. But definitely Carmelo needs to be. Yeah, we need to be in talks to move him along. And about the Marc Gasol possibility. If Marc Gasol is smart, he will he won't make his way toward New York. I think it'd be the smart thing to do for him to stay here and continue to benefit from, really from being able to play alongside Zach Randolph, which has really helped him in his career and not having to do so much of the dirty work down low. So if he's a wise guy, he won't go there anyway.
All right, I want to real briefly talk about All-Star Game. Let's talk three-point shooting contest. I guess my first question, even before I ask that, is there a way we can get that energy back into that Saturday night spectacular, where it's the three-point shooting contest, it's the dunk contest? what do we do? I mean, can we fix it? How would you fix it? And is this year a good start? We'll go with Roz first.
Well, there was for at least maybe 2 or 3 years there, my standing comment as it relates to this topic would be that maybe it's just about the names. Maybe there's, maybe the big names aren't involved, but I can't make that case this year because there are some teams that are doing well and folks are participating in the weekend that are representing those teams. So, the entire NBA storyline is drawing us in, and this should be part of it. I'm just not sure why it's not. And maybe this will be the first time that, maybe this will be the turnaround point. But the story in the years past has certainly been about, we want LeBron James in the slam dunk contest and, all of those sorts of conversations. But now, it's nice to see Steph Curry being, a part of the weekend, and he's on the number 1 team in the West. John Wall. I mean, these are big names, but beyond that, it's really hard to know. I had a chance to watch the 88 All-Star game and the 93 All-Star game. I can't remember if it was last night or a couple of nights ago on Hardwood Classic. Mm-hmm. And one thing about it, I mean, I didn't get to see any of the other parts of the weekend, but just watching the actual game footage, those guys were balling. And it's kind of like, as much as we see, balling happen now, I just don't know if we see the kind of stuff that, we don't see the kind of stuff that Magic Johnson was doing, Isaiah Thomas was doing, Michael Jordan was doing. So, on the heels of me having watched that and thinking about how you can return for those glory years, I don't even know if it's possible because even in the game, which, is the showcasing of all offensive talent, even what I saw in those couple of years doesn't compare to, what I see now. I mean, it's no question that back then those guys were really getting it in, as the young people say, and there's just not that kind of energy these days.
Danny, what's your thoughts?
You know what? You can save All-Star Saturday. For me, this year, All-Star Saturday is a bit of excitement this year. The dunk contest is a little off because most people don't know the 4 people in the dunk contest. Now, I do know these guys have actual great leaping ability. Zach LaVine is a guy who can jump out of the gym. Me being down in Orlando, I've seen Victor Oladipo on many occasions, do some nice things in the air. Giannis Antetokounmpo is 6'9", but he's built with arms like he's 7'10". He's got the big long pterodactyl arms, and Plumlee I'm not too sure about, but hey, he's from a hometown Nets, so you got to give him some kind of love. But the 3-point contest this year is loaded. To Roz's point, you have Steph Curry, who came out in the media and said him not winning a 3-point contest is one of the things that he needs to do in his career. You have Steph Curry, you have Klay Thompson, Kyle Korver, James Harden. The 3-point contest, Kyrie Irving, who's won one. The 3-point contest should be the main event on Saturday night because it's a who's who of 3-point shooters. Even the skills competition, John Wall and Damian Lillard pulled out because he was boycotting the All-Star weekend at one point, and John Wall injured, so I don't think he's going to be doing the skills competition. It's a lot of fun. Now, how do we get the excitement back in the game on Sunday? I think it's very simple. The best way to do it, and this is a sad thing to say, is that players are motivated by money. You put a cash prize, I'm talking about a significant cash prize, make these guys go for it. I guarantee you, the fourth quarter, it's on. You put, winning team gets $50,000, and then we put $50,000 to charity. The NBA's got enough money to do it. You give these guys a $50,000 check for winning the All-Star game, I'm pretty sure Kevin Durant will be dunking all over Pau Gasol if that happens in the fourth quarter. I kid you not. We would turn back. You have to pay these guys. Nowadays, it's pay for play. You put money on the table, and I'm pretty sure if they put $1 million on the table for first prize, LeBron James is in the dunk contest next year in Toronto. I put money on it. The NBA does it, he'll show up.
The next, probably my last question, or next to last question, what happens if Paul George shows up before the end of the season? What does that mean out east?
I'll answer it quickly.
Danny?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Indiana it'll be what Indiana make the playoffs. They might get a 7 or 8 seed in the playoffs. But let's be honest, Paul George is not 100% healthy. Even if he is close to it, Indiana cannot beat Atlanta in the series. Cleveland or Chicago will catch number 2 in the East. And do you really think in a playoff series Cleveland or Chicago is going to lose to Indiana? No. Indiana should Paul George take the year off. Indiana pulls a David Robinson. You get a top-flight draft choice, and you get Paul George coming back next year, and bam, you're a contender in the East all over again.
Rod,
I feel the same. Yeah, I feel the same way. I was going to ask you to clarify. I was going to say, listen, are we talking about what does it mean for their standings, or what does it mean for their championship hopes? I mean, certainly, it might make a difference as it relates to where they end up finishing in the East, but once you get into the playoffs, it's not going to mean a hill of beans. They still wouldn't be in any shape to make a serious run to be the Eastern Conference champ. So I agree. Take the whole. I'm sad to say I'm not even sure that I knew that was a conversation. Like he was considering coming back, or maybe I blocked it. He should take the entire time off and just figure out what this team can do next year to be a contender. But that's not going to make enough of a difference for anyone to risk further injury for him to come back this year.
Last question in this format is, who do you see in the NBA Finals, and who do you see winning? Raj, you're first up.
You always hit us with the surprise question at the end. Oh, man. And I mean, goodness gracious. Who do I see? Oh, God. Wowza. So I'm going to go, and this is going to get me in a lot of trouble with the listeners, so feel free to tweet me and tell me how crazy I am for this. But I'm going to go Hawks just because I can, because they're number 1 and I'm not, and they're not number 8. But that team, like I said earlier to start the call, they've got everything you need to make a very, very successful run. They got people that can score on the block in Millsap and Horford. They got somebody that can hit threes consistently in Korver. They've got great guard play in Teague, and they play defense. And a lot of my conversations about, why is this team doing well, I've pretty much likened them to, that run with the Pistons with Chauncey Billups. They're just a really good team, and they've got all the pieces to get there. So I'll say Atlanta Hawks, and I'll go Grizz. And I say that because Grizz have done well. I mean, this is a team that still doesn't get, as it relates to people who know basketball, really know basketball. Certainly the Grizzlies get respect, but in general, we still don't end up in anyone's prediction for a finals appearance. And in many years past, I would not have said so. But, really the addition of Jeff Green has, and, the increase in firepower, the offensive prowess this year, and Jeff Green, having added to that, this team looks pretty good. And Mike Conley is having an all-star year in which he may not get to the all-star game. But I like the way the Grizz look, and it's not me being a homer this year, I promise. It's me actually saying this team looks pretty good, and could really do well in a series, I think, against the Golden State. So I'm going Grizz and Atlanta Hawks.
Okay. Danny, I'm going to hold off from asking you this question. We're about to close. I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. We're running out of time,
Danny,
but I'm going to call you tomorrow.
I'll answer tomorrow night on my show. How about that?
You can answer. You know what? Go ahead. Answer it now, and then we'll ask you really quick the best way to get in contact with you.
Real quickly, in 10 seconds, the NBA Finals is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors.
Oh,
you guys, as much as I love Atlanta, the thing is, Atlanta doesn't have any experience outside of the second round of the playoffs, and you're going to bet against LeBron James. I'm a conspiracy